Hi everyone, I'm Vixey and welcome back to my art channel. As we had previously been working on this, which is going to be the abstract portrait, well, abstract symbolism portrait of one of my favorite streamers or content creators, I suppose you could call them. And if you have guessed, then you're doing extremely well because there aren't many clues on here just yet. I did kind of notice that there is actually already a clue though. So I am going to continue with this. So the paint has kind of dried where we have previously been painting, and I did accidentally, I'm very naughty with this, I left out a couple of my paintbrushes, and they have actually had the acrylic harden. And again, I love working with acrylics because it is extremely forgiving. So I have some water here in this little container that I got from Daiso, which they're for makeup brushes, but I thought, you know what, let's totally try them for art brushes. Acrylic tends to be pretty forgiving, but that might need to soak for a little bit before I try to scrape off the color. So I'm just going to pop them in there to soak for a little bit, and we'll see if we can actually recover those brushes at all. This one hasn't got any on it. Get a little bit of water. Now, I was going to start painting some purple, which I think I'll start mixing some purple. Let's go get some blue. I'm actually going to put a little bit of silver just to give it a little bit of that lovely sheen coming through. So we're going to get stuck right into it. Now, as you may have noticed, the title of this video is the Elephant Epiphany. Now, the story about the elephant is, when I was starting university, we have this sort of like, it's not really an orientation, it's sort of just this introduction tutorial that that the lecturers put on to try to ease us into the whole studying thing. So they had like, it was, I guess you could say, a short course, a sort of short orientation. And during that orientation, they wanted to prepare us for the fact that the study load for a university is a great deal more than high school. So the question they posed us was, how do you eat an elephant? Which, you know, it sounds very strange at first, because firstly, why would you want to eat an elephant? And it just conjures up a whole heap of weird images in your head, like that, like, especially if you're an animal lover, you're like, good lord, why would anyone want to eat a poor defenseless elephant, right? But it's meant to be an analogy, so we're not meant to take it like completely literally. And they also said, like, can a tiny little fish eat an elephant? So if you were a tiny little fish, how would you go about eating a gigantic, enormous elephant? And a few people put up their hands and, like, you know, tried to take guesses, and people were like asking questions like, is the elephant made out of chocolate? And, you know, just basically trying to figure out this riddle that the lecturers had given us. And the answer, it turns out, is in tiny little bites. I've gotten some paint on my hands. I'm just going to smear that right on the canvas. As I previously talked about, you don't have to limit yourself to just brushwork. Like, you can totally and utterly use literally anything you want to try to get your paint onto the canvas here. See, the silver does give the violet like a very nice hue. I am going to mix that a bit more with the pinks though, because we want to really blend it into the pinks over here. So as I was saying with the elephant, the reason why they asked us to think about this is because with things being so much more at university, it is very easy to get overwhelmed and start procrastinating, which Zahrai, she does some like psychological advice kind of things on TikToks and YouTube. So if you, I'll put her link information below. Check out her channels. She was explaining that procrastination is a lot to do with feeling overwhelmed and having that kind of anxiety. So it's an emotional reaction. It's not a thinking kind of, like, it's not a, like, people think that, like, oh, it's out of laziness or something like that, but it's not. It's about just feeling overwhelmed that there's, like, oh, so much, and then don't know where to start. So don't get overwhelmed. If you do have a really huge task, like, it will take me a very long time to finish painting these paintings. All right, so just take it one step at a time, one tiny bite at a time. And about that little fishy, yeah, in real life, there is a fish called a piranha, and those little guys, yeah, they basically go in tiny little bites, and they can take down a whole elephant. Don't worry too much. They don't exist anywhere where elephants are common, but for all we know, that could be why. But these piranha type fishes, they tend to be in like South Americas. They tend to exist like in the rivers of South Americas, whereas elephants tend to live in more African type continents. So there you go. So the elephants are geographically safe from the tiny fishes, but if an elephant were to happen to fall into the piranha lake territory, they would indeed be completely and utterly gobbled up by tiny fishes. So if you think, oh no, I'm a tiny fish in a big sea, and like there's so much in the world that I have to take on, don't worry, you can totally do it. You can handle the ginormous elephants in your life, which elephants tend to be also the thing that people used to say, like, you know, the elephant in the room is like something like that's hidden, that people don't want to talk about because it might be like a little bit scary. And the thing is, sometimes it's totally freeing to just let that information out off your chest, you know? That, and very often, particularly if you have anxiety, it's never going to be as bad as it is built up in your head. Particularly if you've been building it up in your head over a very long period of time. Like, whenever people think they're like, oh no, they're in so much trouble and there's like no way out, and it's just very often it's just nowhere near as bad. Especially since these days we are so inundated with all these movies and narratives and things that are like, they're dramatized on purpose. Like, they're hyper dramatized, so that we find watching it exciting. But like real life is very rarely as dramatic as that. I mean, sometimes there is drama in life. Sometimes that's just unavoidable. But a majority of the time, it's nowhere near as built up in our heads And if we just, you know, take a moment to like step back and look at our lives and just open up to those around us, it can very often, like, just a burden shared is a burden halved, you know? Like, which is again why I have said in my previous channels that, you know, we have all been through so much lately, like the whole pandemic and everything, and just even people passing away from other things, and it's just, if we all just sort of open up and like talk together, we can really start healing. Because yeah, opening up and talking about the elephants in the room is how the healing begins. Like, the first step is admitting things, you know? And the first initial feelings is shock and denial, so we shouldn't get mad at anyone that's like basically just not ready to deal with it yet. We should like understand that some people are just not there yet. So if they start getting all in denial and defensive and stuff, that's just a sign that they're not ready to deal with it, and they're still seeing the giant, enormous elephant in the room, that, and they haven't realized that they're a piranha yet. They haven't realized that they have tiny little teeth that can totally take on this big, big animal. A little more pink. I love the color pink. Pink is my favorite color. I think it's a fairly popular color, but it turns out it is nowhere near as popular as the color blue. And smashing like the stereotypes, many females do actually love the color blue as well. So I keep adding more and more pink because I absolutely love the color pink, and it seems to be like getting gobbled up by all these other colors here. So just gonna add more of that. I'm gonna take another brush, another clean one. I dip it in water because I'm putting fairly thin layers in here because I do want them to be a little translucent. And as I mentioned before, I plan on doing a few layers, so I'm really just gonna keep filling that in there. And you might start seeing some of the streaking coming through, actually. So yeah, that was my topic on elephants and how one might come to an epiphany. I love the word epiphany. It's like an explosion. It's exciting, and dramatic, and it's neutrally dramatic. Like, you could come to a positive epiphany or a really horrifying one, but I mean, I prefer positive, and I kind of associate epiphany with more positive kind of reactions. That one's purple. So yeah, the advantage of having more than one brush is that you can kind of switch between colors without them getting too messed up or too muddy. I like how the silver is kind of adding like a grayish effect to my paint here. Next episode, I'm definitely going to get in there with some of the actual symbols. But as I mentioned earlier, one of the clues is actually this beautiful gradient sunset, because they have talked about the sunset on their channel. previously been, oh, the welcome sign, yes. Now some people have told me that the image for these videos has been flipped. I am trying to fix that. However, if the welcome sign is still coming out reversed, then you're still through the looking glass. So I am going to try to fix that. So I will be checking that, and if and hopefully in the next couple of videos that will be resolved. So and again, if there's anything you want me to add to this, please put that in the description, in your comments. Not the description, I put stuff in the description. Can you pop that in the comments, and I will keep an eye out for any suggestions and pop them on there. Okay, let's see how these brushes are doing. That still hasn't quite melted. Acrylic tends to be a lot more forgiving than oils. Oils, you need stuff like turpentine and things like that to clean. So again, that's why I like working with acrylics, because acrylics are very forgiving. Oh, it's starting to scrub out a little bit. We're getting a few little flakes in there. You can't really see, but we are getting a few little flakes in the water as it's scraping off the brushes. This makeup brush cleaner is actually working a treat. It's brushing the brushes, brushing the acrylic right off the brushes there. Now I have also received a comment about why am I always kind of wearing a baggy t-shirt and having my hair just tied back like this. I obviously am working with paints and things. You want to keep your hair out of dipping into paints. As far as art and crafts go, paints are not the worst thing you can get your hair stuck in, but you know, if you're working with machinery and things like that, you want to make sure that your hair does not get caught in that, because that can result in injury. So it is a safety thing that I do have my hair tied back, and obviously I wear like baggy t-shirts because I'm not going to be too upset if I start getting some paint on them. Okay, just going to clean up some more of these brushes. Yeah, it's starting to loosen up. Soaking them in there for a bit really does help, especially if they've been dried over a day or two. I think these are, yeah, it's just been a day or two. It hasn't been that long since I made the last video. I am trying to upload them as quickly as possible, but they do actually take quite a fair bit of time. So yes, please like, share, subscribe. It helps me so much. The more subscriptions I get, the more ability I have to get more tools, to get better equipment, all that sort of thing. So and hopefully that means the quality of this show will start to improve and a community will grow. And that's what I really want to do here. I just sort of want to spread some more positivity, particularly on the internet, where I feel like it's really needed the most right now. With everybody, I just sort of feel like, you know, this is a time of healing for everyone. And I mean, I guess it's kind of timeless if sometime in the future, because like life is full of ups and downs, right? So if you're going through a hard time and this kind of thing cheers you up, or you just kind of need that kind of advice, then that's what this is here for. That's exactly what this video is here for you. To help you take down those pesky elephants in your life. I'm going to continue to bring this paint all the way down and start to get some blue in the bottom here. I might actually start bringing it back out to yellow because I do want this bottom part to be a little brighter as well. So I'm going to do that. The video is again getting a little bit long, so it will take a little while to upload at this point. So wish you farewell. Hopefully, I really wish you all the best of luck, and I hope to see you in the next video. Okay. Bye.